How's it going, Scrub Gamers? Welcome back to another video here at Scrub Games, and we have another deck profile for Star Wars Unlimited. And for this one, I'm going to go over my Control Boba, my blue Boba list, to go over a good option that you can have, because I thought with Control decks popping up, I didn't want to be be a new part of the meta, kind of the ever-evolving meta, which is very nice. We're getting more controlling ones, and I remember when I was testing out my Thrawn one, and then after a bit of testing, because I have since improved it and made it a little bit better, I started thinking about why go for Thrawn when Boba can do it a little better, offer you back more resources and still offer you the same aspects and stuff. Because Thrawn White, it's nice to look at top card of your player's deck, and you can kind of get a little bit of a tapping. You can get back resources to play more things with Boba, so I thought it'd be a lot better, because Boba is one of the best leaders in the game, most versatile one, so I thought I'd give it a try, and also he's one of my favourite leads. So, we're going to go into it and have a look, but before we get into it, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Keeps you updated with my videos as and when they drop, and even by clicking notification bell, you can get alerts to when my videos do drop, so you can watch them there and then, or at a time in the future that suits you best. So with that out of the way, let's go and have a look and check out Blue Boba. So, like we always do, we're using Deck Planet, so we're using one of my favourite and probably one of the best deck building websites around. They do it for a lot of games like Dragon Ball, One Piece, and also Star Wars as well. Very easy user interface, very nice to build decks and look at your cards. Even they even got now a feature where you can move them around before you had to have them in a certain order. Now you can move around and help you out, and it's just a fantastic deck builder, and I would always recommend it. So we're going to have a look at the leader first, and this is Boba, so it's the showcase one. Sport Axe, it does look quite nice, I do like the art on it. And Boba is one lead you probably always see around in tournaments, and also probably one of the most common ones you'll probably see when people play, because it's one of the best. So there's not much to go over it, but if you are brand new, I will go over it as well. So what Boba basically offers is the get back more resources. So how you play this game is by using resources to pay the cost for cards to play them out. And Boba allows you to get back some resources every time when your opponent has a unit of theirs leave play. Could be either by putting it back to hand, to the bottom of the deck, to being defeated, just put to their discard, or just leaving the field basically, or being captured like we're getting the new mechanics. So when you can do that, you can trigger Boba to basically untap resources, and while he's in the lead area, so while he's still there commanding in the lead area, you can untap one by tapping him when one of your opponent's enemy units leaves play. Could be a leader unit, space unit, ground unit. As long as the unit leaves play from there of theirs, you can rest your leader to untap a resource. And then when you deploy, which is very quick with this leader being deployed at 5 resources, so as early as turn 4, you can get deploy him out. He comes with solid stats at 4 power and 7 health. And now when he deploys, you have to attack to be able to trigger it. And then basically when his unit completes an attack, so it has to attack and survive. It can't just kamikaze so he could die. If it doesn't survive the attack, it won't trigger. So you have to attack and survive it. If an enemy unit left play this phase, you get to untap 2 resources. So that means 1, the lead area, you can untap 1 each turn when you remove your opponent's stuff. And also when you are deployed, you can then untap 2 on swing as long as it's when your opponent's units are left the board during that phase. And on the turn you deploy him, you can get 3 resources, because you get 1 from when he's in the lead area, then 1 when he's deployed in swing. So on the turn you do deploy him, you can get 3. But after that, 1 when you're in the lead area, 2 when he's deployed. So very good leader, and offers you the cunning and villainy aspects. And then we went for Dagobah Swamp, because I thought, I like the look of this more than the city one, the capital city. And you don't want to go for a 25 health base, you want to go 30 health base, because you want to survive, especially against aggro, you're meant to go lower. And Security Complex, that's the one for blue, is 25 health less, 25 health, so 5 health less, and offers you the ability to put a shield on a non-leader unit, which isn't great because we don't play many units, so it's not as helpful. So we don't care about that, and since we don't care about that, we'd rather have more health, so we've gone for a 30 health base. You can have Capital City or Dagobah Swamp. I've gone for Swamp because I like Swampy Boba. So that is the leader, that's our combination of leader and base, where we get access to the Vigilance blue, we get access to Villainy black, and we get access to the Cunning yellow. So we get blue, black, and yellow as our aspects that we don't have to pay a penalty on. But then we only have access to 1 each of those, do bear that in mind. So for the list, we'll start with these units we can actually play, so the very few amount of units we do have. So we got 3 copies of Bib Fortuna, very good, because since we play a lot of events, we can play them out a little bit cheaper, play them out a little bit like even a turn earlier, or play them out a little bit cheaper. And especially since we get resources back if we use an event that's a little bit cheaper. Plus, when we're recycling board, you get even more. You get extra more resources. So rather than playing 3 for something, you pay 2 for something, and then get 1 back. You're technically getting 1 back for some of those plays, which is cool. So you play 3 Bib Fortuna, pretty solid stats. Turn 1 play as well. Doesn't have the most attack, but we don't care about that. It's just more the bulk. Comes in shielded as well, so it has a shield to protect himself from damage once. And his action's very good to tap himself, play an event from your hand, it costs 1 less. Very good turn 1 play, so we play 3 copies of this to see if we can see it as early as possible. It's great. If you don't, then that's unfortunate for us. We also got 3 copies of Count Dooku, so it's a nice bit of removal. Bit hefty costing, especially to jump here from 2 to 7. So 7 resources we have, and since we don't ramp, we're going to have to wait until we get 7 resources, turn, 6? Until we can play it, so a big wait. But it does come down with some nice stats. 5 power is pretty good. 4 health is not the best, but still not too bad. It's at least got health, and 4 is pretty decent. Comes with shield as well, so it can protect from damage once by using the shield instead. And it's got a nice, very nice one played, allowing you to defeat any unit with 4 or less remaining HP. It could be a leader unit, space unit, ground unit, you name it. As long as it's got 4 remaining HP, or even just has 4 HP, then you can pop it. Coming shield like that, it's very nice. It's a nice, like, expensive one. But remember, you're going to be paying 7 for this, popping something, and Boba's going to give you back some resources. So you have 3 copies of this, which is a nice bit of removal. Then we go on space units, so we only got 2 ground units, but then we don't care about ground, we just remove units and then just basically just controlling the game. We've got 3 copies of Inferno Force. I would never turn 1 play if we find it. And this one's very nice because it offers a little bit better stats than Bib. So same costing, but has a bit more power than Bib. Doesn't come in shielded, but does come in with very, very nice when played or when defeated. So when it's played or when it's taken out from on the board, you get a look at the top 2 cards of your deck and put any number of them on the bottom of your deck and the rest on top. So you can look at the top 2 or rearrange them, either keeping any you want on top and put the rest that you don't want to the bottom. So you can kind of filter through, kind of find things you actually do want. So once again, 3 copies of this because it's a very good turn 1 play and very nice effect. Then we've also got Fett's Fire Spray. So this is the one benefit that you can have, or one other benefit, not just the benefit, but another benefit you could have from Boba, is you get access to a Fire Spray. So this is a unit that you can't really get the full benefit out from other units because you need to have a Boba unit. Boba or Jango Fett. We don't have Jango Fett yet. But this is a very nice space unit that is a 6 cost, so a little bit expensive, but comes with good stats at 5 power and 6 health. Also, gets a good benefit from Boba by when played. If you control Boba Fett or Jango Fett, you can raid his unit. And that can be either in the leader area or in one of the arenas, be it ground arena, space arena. So as long as you have just having Boba as your lead, you can play this out and it comes in ready to attack instead of rested like most things do. Does have a nice little action effect as well by allowing you to pay 2 and exhaust a non-unique unit, so you can kind of hold off attacks using this. This allows you to kind of get that late when you control enough board and you've kind of got set up. You can start dropping this and just get some swings and straight away to push some damage quickly as well. And 5 damage is pretty decent. Good amount of chunks on damage, at least 1/6 of your opponent's health base if they're running a 30 health base. So 3 copies of that. And then lastly, our last unit is Avengers. So we're running a good 15 units, which might seem a lot for control, but it's good enough. And Avengers is a very nice one, where it's a very hefty cost one at 9. But remember, any unit here that basically just KOs something on play or with an effect, then will give you back at least 1 resource from Boba. So while it costs 9, you get 1 back and you'll basically have paid 8 for it. And he's got a very nice effect because it's a very powerful one at 8/8 for its stats, very solid. And he's got a nice one played or an attack effect, where an opponent chooses a non-leader unit they control and defeat the unit. And the aim with this is to reduce the amount of units they have by basically keeping control of it. So they've only got very limited number of units. So that way they have to, if they've only got 1 unit on, they have to set that one off as long as it's a non-leader. So if they have just a leader, it's not going to get much of an effect off. But then you want to kind of limit your opponent's board and what they have out and can control it with that. So Avengers is a very good way. And every time it attacks as well after it's on play, it does that. Makes your opponent kill 1 of their units, and then every time it attacks, you're making them kill off 1 of their units while pushing 8 damage to their base. Pretty solid. So we don't have many in control. You don't have many units, so we just have these 5 and 3 copies of each. Now you have a lot of events as well that allow you to kind of control. So let's go have a look at these. So the first one we got is 2 repair. So this allows you to kind of heal against aggro. Kind of heal yourself, hold off and survive a little bit longer by healing 3 damage from either your base or units. You could either heal 3 damage from your base if you're close to dying and you want to kind of avoid that. Or if you've got something that's damaged, you kind of want to heal it, you want to keep Boba around and kind of heal some damage off it. Repair can absolutely do that. So you've got 2 copies of that. Very cheap as well at just 1 cost. So not too costly, especially since we can always get 1 resource back from Boba in the lead area. You can basically play this with anything else that does remove something. Then we've got 3 copies of No Good Be Dead. This is a very nice card because it locks something down for a good 2 turns. Because how the turns work in this game is that you have the action. You start off with the action phase, then like the restanding phase stuff. So normally in the game, you start off at the beginning of your turn. You do the whole draw, untap any resources, and like charge if you need to charge resources, and then go on to your main phase. But in this game, you do your action phase, which is like your main phase where you play cards, deploy a leader, play events, stuff like that, like trigger actions and stuff like that. That's when you do it. And then the end of the turn is when you do your drawing, charging, and untapping. So since that's at the end of your turn, that's the whole turn. So you do the action phase, main phase, action phase, then the resupply phase, then you move on to the next turn. Consider how this, like, because of that, you exhaust the unit, and then that unit can't be ready this round. And since they ready at the end of the turn, and it can't ready this round, it'd be tapped down for not only that turn you use it, but the turn after as well. So it makes for a very nice one, and a very great card to use on leaders to have like 1 attack effects and stuff like that. Because you can, as soon as you deploy for 2, tap it down, and it's tapped down for the next turn as well, so you have to worry too much. You can kind of have a bit of time to deal with it and get rid of it. We've also got 3 copies of I'm Your Father. So with Control X, the only problem is you don't keep a huge hand. Like you draw 2 cards, and then you charge 1 because you want to keep charging so you can get to late energy, so you can play things like Avenger. But you don't really, if he's playing something every turn, you're not kind of increase your hand size, and you've got to kind of like be careful what you play and what you're using to make sure you're making the best use of it. So I'm Your Father is a nice one where you can either for free or even 2 if you use it off bib. Then you can go. I'm going to do 7 damage to your. I want to do 7 damage to your unit. Do you or right, let me do 7 damage to you or say no. And if they do say no, you draw 3 cards. So either your opponent's got a choice, or either they let something take 7 damage, which is a big amount. 7 damage on anything is quite a lot. So they can do that, which means they're going to most of the time lose their unit because that's a lot of damage to take out something. But if they say no, you get 3 brand new cards. You get 3 new options, and while they've not kept their unit around, you've been given more options to kind of just survive the game longer and then basically take more control of it. Like I have got games of this up as well from one of the webcam locals that should be going up before this comes out, and you can see from one of the games where I think I played a fair few of them, and my opponent was just like, "I'll take the 7 damage, take it out." I didn't have a very huge hand, but in one of the games, every time I used it, my opponent was like, "Yeah, draw 3 because they didn't want to take damage on the unit." So I had a huge hand and loads of options to basically control the game, and that's what I'm Your Father does. It puts your opponent in a predicament where they either take 7 damage, which is a big amount, or they give you more cards that have more options to do more things. So you got to think: do you want your opponent playing control to have more options, or do you just want to lose your card and just try and play out a new one? Because while you want to control, keep getting bored out, do you really want to give them more options? Think about that. Then we've got 3 copies of Power of the Dark Side, a very good card for this for free, forcing your opponent to choose any one of the units. Anyone doesn't have to be non-leader, just any unit they control, and defeat it. And this is a great way to get rid of your opponent's leaders, and why against control decks you don't deploy your leader when you've got no board, because you can deploy your leader, and then they can just go Power of the Dark Side, and you're forced to kill off your leader because it's the only unit you control. So a very nice card, very nice to kind of like, yeah, very good option to kind of get with a unit, leader units, which is quite like a unique in terms of events. Like there's not many events that they have like restrictions, like takedown forces your opponent, like you hit things at 5 or less HP. Vanquish can hit anything but not a long leader. So Power Dark Side being a nice one, and just easy removal and as early as turn 2 as well. So after your opponent has played a card, you can then go out to initiative, and then next turn just straight away get rid of it so they can't attack with it. Then we've got 3 copies of Waylay, another way to kind of control board and kind of hold off on there. Like if your opponent plays a lot for a big card, you can just for free go put it back in your hand and get out of the way, out of view, out of mind. So very nice card to have, and kind of help with the control aspects, like holding off the board so you can survive and start playing your big things. Then we've got 3 copies of Cunning. So like in this list, in control decks, you do have cards that will incur an aspect penalty. So we're using the double aspect card, like some of the double aspect cards. So we'll go for Cunning because it's such a very good card. Even if you have to pay 6 for it, you can get some very good uses out of it. And also, if you get rid of a unit using this, Boba's then going to go ahead and make it so it costs 1 less since you get back a resource. You can pay 6 for it. And if you use the first option, which is return a non-leader unit with 4 less power for the owner's hand, Boba's going to untap you a resource. And then the other 3 options you've got on this, which make it a very good option, is either give a unit +4 power for this phase, like giving like Avenger or Effects Fire Spray an extra 4 power to kind of push the damage to kind of finish it off is very good. Exhausting 2 units is great to kind of hold off as well, to kind of like tap down to things your opponent has, so you can hold off to get your like ways to remove them. Or if you're going against a mirror hand control deck, you can kind of make your opponent discard a random card from the hand, which would be very handy. So yeah, so that's a very very nice one you've got there for like a option. And we play 3 copies of this. You can put this down to 2. I've been thinking about doing that, but I need to do a bit more testing. But I feel 3 is pretty nice. Then we have 2 copies of Search of Feelings. Now, this is a very nice one because if you've got nothing else to do for the turn, this is a great option and allows you to grab any card from your deck and draw it. Now, it's very unique in that with this game, it's like how it follows like some other games where you don't shuffle your deck. Like it's not as consistent with things like Dragon Ball Masters, where you can like you can shuffle your deck, so you can kind of, if you have to bottom deck stuff, you kind of like shuffle it up so you can kind of see it a bit earlier, rather than have to wait for your entire deck to get to it. Such a Feeling is a very nice one where you can like just grab any card from your deck and just add it to your hand. It does cost 4, but then if it costs anything less, that'll be a bit busted. Be able to switch your deck for any card you want at a lower cost than 4. It's crazy, but this allows you to grab any card from your deck and helps when you've got nothing really to do. You're waiting for your because you're normally waiting for your opponent to do something so you can interact with it and kind of like deal with it. So if you've got nothing to do, your opponent's not doing anything, you can always use this to kind of search a card you need and have it as that consistency as well. Especially when you're looking for something specifically and you're not drawing into it, go ahead and grab it. So you got 2 copies because it's a very nice card. Then we've got 3 copies of Takedown, so more removal. Like it is a little bit more limited than Power of the Dark Side or I'm Your Father. Well, the damage stuff is like instant removal, like Power of the Dark Side, but you got to get a bit more control over what gets hit, but there's more restrictions. So while Power of the Dark Side guarantees something's going to go, but your opponent gets the option to choose. This one you get to choose, but it only hits things with 5 or less power, but still it's nice removal. So you got 3 copies of it. We also got 3 copies of Vigilance as well. So with Vigilance, this is just like Cunning. It's going to cost you 6 because you got to pay. You only have 1 Vigilance aspect, just like how Cunning only has. You only have 1 Cunning. You have to pay. You're incurring the penalty for these 2, so you're paying 6 for them. But Vigilance is a very nice one because it adds that kind of whole focus on control, where you're trying to hold off, get to a later game, and even go to have a win column of milling your opponent out, so they run out of cards in the deck and start taking damage from every card they can't draw to kind of like use that as a way to kind of finish off their base rather than try to get a unit out. So Vigilance is very nice in that it has the first one, making opponent discard 6 cards from top of your deck, making milling things that they might not want to lose, and just making it so they run out of options the later the game goes on. Like basically take control of it. You can heal 5 damage for base, so heal a whopping 5, which is very good to kind of survive a little bit longer on your base. You can also defeat a unit with 3 or less remaining HP, so there's more removal that also will trigger Boba as well. So that can also maybe get back a resource or 2, depending on if Boba's in your leader or area or deployed. And the last one, you can give a shield token to units. So you can kind of give a shield token to Boba when he's deployed to kind of keep him around longer so you can get more use out of your kind of getting more resources back to use, which is pretty cool. So very good options of Vigilance and probably quite costly card. And control decks in Star Wars are the most probably more expensive, especially when you've got like Avenge here being a very expensive legendary at the moment. We are on 3 copies of. Same with Vigilance, just because of how good it is in control decks, and even Cunning being a bit of a costly one as well. So that's a very nice one we've got. And then we've got also 2 copies of Vanquish, more removal, instant removal, especially when you go against mirror control and you want to get rid of things like Avenger but don't have your own Avenger. Just Vanquish it. 2 copies of that. We've also got 3 copies of Super Laser Blast, so this is how you deal with like boards that go wide, where if your opponent wants to go, you don't go wide against control, or if you do, hope that you can kill them before they go to 8 resources or 7 with Bib on board, because otherwise they're just going to wipe your board and get rid of it. But then the only problem is the only thing with this is if your opponent knows you have it, they can kind of play around it, knowing that if they start putting things on board and you can't get rid of them, or like they can function in a way where they don't put too much on board. So if you do Super Laser Blast, they can then reestablish the stuff after you've done it, because it does cost a whopping 8 resources. But still, wipes the entire board, yours and your opponent's, but then it kind of clears the board for it, so you can take out your opponent's entire board, and then also get a resource back. So this currently costs 7 with a Super Laser Blast, because of Boba, because it takes you back a resource because you will defeat a unit. So a little bit cheaper than most, which is quite nice. Then you've got 3 copies of Entrenched. This is a very good upgrade. So that's all the events we've got. Well, no, not all the events because there's one more coming up. But this is a very good card in this, because if you look at it, it gives an extra free power to something, but it can't attack bases. Now you might be thinking that's good to put on your unit. Just basically give your unit an extra free power and free health, and then start taking up clearing board. But you don't care about clearing board like that, or some clearing board to your units, because you don't play them too many, and you want to be attacking base with them. You want all your events and stuff like that to kind of deal your opponent's board and have to worry about it. So why is this in here? Well, the reason this in here is it allows you to put on your opponent's unit, because you can remember you can put upgrades on any unit in play, yours or your opponent's, and they get all the effects that's on there. So the great thing about this is you can put this on your opponent's units, and then that opponent unit can't attack your base. So if you've got a clear arena, if you put this on a ground unit and you've got no ground units, they can't attack your base, so they can only attack things in the ground arena. If you want nothing to attack into, it's not attacking. Especially when you got leaders that when your opponent deploys leader, they got they got attack to kind of get a effect. Like with Boba, for example, have to attack to be able to ready some resources if something left played this phase. Or like Grand Inquisitor have to attack to then ping damage or something to restand it. Or Han needs a swing to basically ramp. If you put Entrenched on a leader unit, there's no way that they cannot be an attack unless they can get rid of that Entrenched off it. They can't attack, and if you don't put anything on them in the ground arena for them to attack into, they're not going to attack and get that effect off. So this is a very good card, not just to boost your own stuff, to kind of like make them stronger to clear board. It's a very good defensive tool to kind of make it so your opponent can't attack with their units, and especially if you're struggling because you're going to be mainly playing your space units like Avenger and Fetch Raspberry to do the damage. So you're not going to have much in the ground arena to kind of like allow them to attack into. So Trench is a very nice unit or upgrade to kind of prevent attacks from coming in for your opponent, a bit more control. And then the last card we have to kind of like make sure we don't lose to our own strategy or to other control decks is 2 copies of Restock. So Restock is one of those non-aspect cards. So we got some cards that have no aspects on, and it's a very cheap one, a one-cost event. And what it allows you to do is choose up to 4 cards in your discard pile, put them on the bottom of your deck in a random order. So this is great in allowing you to kind of get recursion. So when it comes to a late game, when you're like you're both running out of cards in your deck, or you're like decking your opponent using Vigilance, you can use this to kind of put back the cards in like up to 4 cards in your drop in your discard back to your in your discard pile back to your deck in a random order about your deck. And if you've got no cards left in your deck, you just put 4 back, and then you'll be able to draw 2 and just go through it and just basically recycle and never deck out. So you can deck your opponent out while not decking yourself out, and kind of like getting back things like Vigilance, Power and Backside can help control to help make sure later game, while you're not taking damage from having no cards left in your deck, your opponent is, and you're just holding off and wait until they take not too much damage so that they lose from that. So we got this in the main because, yeah, you kind of don't want to have to worry about game 1. Like, I think, yeah, I've kind of put it together. So like most control decks you probably see, just focusing more on like benefits of Boba, and also just like trying to be a bit more focused on like game 1, make sure you got everything you need game 1, and in game 2 you can always slide things out. And also just in case you want to try for the UKG format, which is the best of 1, which is it's a dumb format. But yeah, a lot of top cut after, you want to like make sure you've got a good chance for game 1 as well. Because if you go against control, there's not a good chance you're going to finish like the whole match, but you might at least be able to win the first game and then hopefully win it from there, win the second game. But if it goes to, you can go to time a lot in this. But this is the Boba deck, and I also have a side deck as well to go with it. Remember, the side deck is more personal to each individual person, to the meta, to the tournament they're going to. So remember, like, take it to a grain of salt. This is what side deck I've got for like my locals, like my experience and myself. But you can always change it for yourself because side decks are more personal to the player. So straight away, you can already see we've got 5 cards in our side deck, and one of them is a 3rd copy of Vanquish, because Vanquish is a removal card. So we've got that in there to help removal, because instant removal of something. And what this costs 5, Bubba will give you back a resource, meaning you technically paid 4 for it. So that's handy there. But we got 4 other cards. Now, what would these be? So starting off, we've got 2 Bodhi Rook. This is to help with the ever control decks. So you can start using this as a way to kind of start hand controlling them, limit their options a little bit. Kind of like rip out cards from their hand, like if they've got like Vigilance, rip that out their hand, or stuff like that, or even Entrenched or Super Laser Blast, taking cards out their hand, so that way they you got something you can attack with or force them to use cards on, also limiting their options. And I got 2 copies of this, like Bodhi and like Spark Rebellion is really good cards to kind of put in against control decks, which would be very handy. So you've got 2 copies of that there. And remember, this will cost you 5 instead of the printed 3 because you don't have a second Cunning aspect, you only have 1 from Boba. So it will cost 5, but that's 5 is good enough to kind of rip out a non-unit from your opponent's hand, which is good, which would be really good. And then we've got 2 copies of Bounty Hunter Crew. Now this is a nice one. I feel like I've got some cards in here to kind of help with like recycling units, and this is a nice one to allow you to attack, or drop down a unit on board to kind of attack with, even have ambush as well, so you can attack it to you. So if you're playing a non-control deck and actually playing things out, use this to come down, attack, potentially take something out, but also get you back an event from your discard pile back to your hands, any event. So if you lost both your restocks, grab that back so you know you're not going to deck out, or grab back like Super Laser Blast, Vigilance, things like that. So grab any event from your discard pile, which you have a lot of. Now it is quite costly at 6, but if you get there and you're basically holding off, like if you most of the time you're going to keep control on the board, keep it out, you can use it to grab back a nice event. Will also take something out as well, so kind of remove something from board, but also grab back an event to kind of use for the next turn, which is nice. 2 copies of that would be helpful. Also got 2 Dalmiko as well, so against like once again ever control decks, to kind of hold off and force them to pay more for their events than you would, because they got solid stats like Bodhi, 3 cost, 3/3 to its stats. Also comes to restore 1, so it can heal when it swings, which is nice. And he does have a lovely effect where each event your opponent plays costs 1 more. So if your opponent wants to play their Super Laser Blast, they have to pay 9. They want to play their Vigilance or Cunning in like the same deck, they've got to pay 7 instead of 6 or more. And this is just nice to force them to pay more than they would want to just to use an event. And then the last one we got is Boss. So this is a nice one that helps like also control, because this helps against like the aggro kind of. You want most of these things that can help with aggro, so you can kind of deal with their board. What also I see like Bounty Hunter Crew and Boss both have ambush to kind of take things out, and you've got both like Bosk and Bounty Hunter Crew being more to help deal with the aggro decks. They are quite costly. It's 6 and 5, but they've both got ambush, so they come in as a swing. And Bosk has a nice little benefit of whenever you play an event, which you have a load of, you can deal 2 damage to a unit. So you can always go, after this has come out, superpower the dark side to make him kill one of the units, and then Bosk deal 2 damage to maybe finish something off it did attack and didn't finish off, or take out something small that the opponent has that you want to get rid of. So we've got 3 copies of that. So that's the side deck I've got to kind of help with deal with aggro and also control decks, depending on what you want, and kind of help out, because you've got most of the things you want in your deck. So there's not many things you want to help with the control aspect to do it as well. Especially, remember, with Boba's effect, if you do use the Bounty Hunter Crew or Bosk and take out something with the ambush, you will get resource back. So while you paid 6 and 5, you will then pay 1 less for them as well. So that's it for today for the video. So this is on that profile. I've got gameplay of it in use, like not the most exciting gameplay, but some gameplay of using it. Just fortunately, I was using it for the UKG format, which is like 25 minutes best of 1. So not the best time, but best of 3, it probably function a lot better. But yeah, if you want to try it out, go ahead and try it. If you want the link to the deck list, it's in the description below. And hopefully you enjoy this and maybe try this out and see if you prefer it to Thrawn. I personally prefer it to Thrawn, because like get extra resource can make you like allow you to play more things. Be like, say, play out something and then use Parallax after like, Search of Feelings. And I thought it could be very useful. So that is it for me. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and catch more from me in the next time. Bye for now.